Learning is 9/10 of the baby's bathwater that's thrown out with the Windows.
Windows 10.
Thanks for the contribution, too.
This is humor.
Thanks for that
This is
contribution.
our humor. So that's
Did you record that?
unfortunately, yes, I did.
Nice.
Hello and welcome to episode number 97 of the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. My name is JJ and I'm here with my two friends, Mark.
Howdy, y'all!
I'm Mark.
And Brian.
Howdy, Brian. I'm Mark.
Are you Bark?
Huh? We're off to a banging start.
That's accurate.
I'm Brian.
What is happening?
I don't know, man.
It's like not even 20 seconds in. Jeez.
I think it's probably due to the fact that...
JJ, what have you been playing this week?
Wow, look at that.
Whoa.
Man.
We're only, what, 96 episodes in, and that Mark finally takes charge a little bit?
Yeah, well, he took charge 2 weeks ago when I was gone. Or 4 weeks ago.
I'm really call it taking
took
charge.
100% charge.
Wow. I thought you did a good job, Mark.
Thank you.
I really
but
do.
Little did anybody else see in the background, Shanna was always had her watchful gaze on Mark.
Wow. Browbeaten, huh?
Yeah.
Silently browbeating.
Yes, correct.
Just her presence.
Correct.
Brian, you never even mentioned, did you get a chance to try out VR while you were there?
No, we completely forgot.
Oh, no.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really care.
Whoa!
Yeah, but if you have a free
not
opportunity
nice.
to check it out, why
Yeah,
not?
I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't... VR doesn't get me excited. It's not ready yet.
Well,
For
you're
me.
not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, next time if I'm over there, I'll probably be like, hey, if it's set up, let's try it out real quick just so I can see
Dude.
the hubbub. But now for me, the stuff that I'm seeing is cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like I have to try it. It's more like, okay, cool. I see where this is heading. And I would like it to be way down the road before I try it.
Yeah,
I paid $10 to try it.
Nice.
that's true.
Yep.
It's a good $10.
I would have
Yeah.
gotten to try it either way, but, I wanted to play that game, so.
Yeah, man.
I have been playing World of Warcraft, and that's kind of like been taking up most of my time, to be honest with you. And then a little bit of Dragon Warrior 3, trying to kind of slog my way through that. It's okay. And
Final
honestly,
Fantasy VII.
Yeah, a little bit of Final
little
Fantasy
bit.
7 as well. That's right. I'm doing a no materia run.
Whoa!
So, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be so far.
How much grinding?
I really haven't had to do much.
Really?
So I'm still pretty early in the game. I'm at Condor Fort. I just did I was worried because I thought I was going to have to cross the... And if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, this is going to be complete gibberish to you. But I think most of our listeners have. The marsh where you have to get away from the snake.
Yeah.
And you need a chocobo to do so. You have to use chocobo lure materia to do that. And so I was like, am I going to, cheat a little bit and throw it on just so I can get past this one part? I was like, well, I'll try it without it and see if I can do it. And first time I tried to run across, got decimated. Absolutely just worked me over. But the second time I actually did find a way to make it across without a chocobo, so I didn't need to do it. So I am totally still materia free.
Boom.
You don't need a chocobo at any point in the game?
Correct.
There are
I mean,
optional
nice.
parts.
There's stuff if you want to
Yeah.
get like special items and stuff, you'll need to do that. But
That's all materia anyway. for
and
the most part.
honestly, it was like the timing is pretty precise. You have to be really really close with it because like 1 second later, and he was right on my heels when I
Yeah.
got there. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with myself when I did that. So and honestly, I like it because normally when I play through that game, I'm more conscious about like I'll equip a weaker weapon if it's got way more materia slots on it sometimes, just because I want to have as much magic power and all that
Gotta
stuff.
have
And I
that
rely
utility.
on it like crazy. But this time it's just like whatever's strongest, whatever's best,
Yeah.
throw it on. But I can't steal. I can't steal, and you know how much I like stealing.
Oh,
in
you
that
love
game.
stealing.
A rough thing right there.
So I can't be like 3 swords ahead. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to. Looking forward to Dragon Quest Builders next week.
Nice.
Big Really looking forward to that. Forza. Also, Forza Horizon, which
That
I know
Forza.
a lot of people don't really care about, but honestly, open world racing in Australia, I'm having a good time with it. So,
Good deal.
Brian, what about you?
I've been playing World of Warcraft, but I am ramping down on that. I finally got exalted with the Night Fallen, so I don't need to play every day to make sure I grind those world quests, which is fantastic. So I cracked open Final Fantasy VII. I'm doing a book club, a video game book club with my brother and a couple of his friends and JJ, of course. And question, JJ, because I was going to ask you, but I forgot before the podcast. Unlocking limit breaks. I know it's per use, but what about levels 2 and 3 and 4? Are those unlocked separately, or because I have?
So the way it works is I've played this game so many times.
It's been like 5 years.
So you've got your first limit break in each level 1, 2, and 3, right?
Right.
You use each one of those 8 times, and you'll unlock the second one of those groups.
Okay.
So in order to go from level 1 to level 2, you have to kill 80 enemies with that character specifically.
Gotcha.
So an easy way to grind it is like when you get to the part where you find Yuffie, and I was telling
Right.
your brother this the other day in chat as well. There is a group of 5 little plant-looking guys, and since you're using material to be a piece of cake,
Joke, yeah.
one shot AoE kills all 5 of them. That's 5 kills right there.
Awesome.
There's been times where I've actually not, like, I've gotten the level 2 limit break or level 3 limit break before even using the first one 8 times.
So
you don't have to use it 8 times before you unlock the next one.
So to just put the math to rest, since I already have level 1 unlocked, to get to level 4, I need to kill 240 enemies, correct? That's 80 per...
No, because the level 4 limit breaks for each character, there's a specific quest you have to do
Gotcha.
for them.
Okay.
But 1,
Cool.
2, and 3, so basically 160,
Okay.
and then that's it.
Cool. Awesome. Because I was grinding that today, and I was like, I need to probably find out before I continue grinding this, and so I'm glad I asked.
Yep. Show enough.
Yep. So those are the 2 games I've been playing.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty fun.
You've both been playing World of Warcraft. Well, I've been playing Hearthstone, a Warcraft card game.
I see. Are you getting into it? It's really
I like it,
good.
yeah.
It's
That's a lot
Blizzard
of fun.
polish on a card game. I know David's really into it.
Yeah. I'm not as into it as he is, but I've been enjoying it lately. Played some more Witcher, obviously. Beat the second Batman Telltale
Did it?
chapter.
Is it any better?
It's better. It's
Okay.
better. There's a little choice at the end that seems pretty significant. Like, I might have to go back and replay it
Gotcha.
to change that decision because it was bad. It was a bad decision that I made. But yeah, it seems better. It's still not one of their best because it's so familiar.
Gotcha.
And I've been playing that Jackbox Party Pack.
What is that?
It's party games, video games.
That's fine.
What? You said you were going to call me out.
On what?
You said if I bring it up on the podcast,
I was kidding with you.
you should bring up real
Dude,
games.
A video game's a video game, except a city planning
well,
game.
that's
just a city.
Besides,
planning
we've come to
game.
expect this from you anyways.
that
Yeah,
ruined. I was looking
Like
for
I like
fights.
Mario Party and stuff, so like I'm all good. I'm good with video game.
They're
party games.
really fun.
Yeah. Hey.
We played one last night where basically you can have update players in there, and they'll ask you trivia questions, like really hard trivia
Is
questions.
this online?
One person has to own the game, and then everyone else just goes to this website and types in a room code and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. And so what you do is you get trivia questions, and then everyone fills in the blank with a fake answer that they think they'll trick someone else into guessing.
Yeah.
And you get points if people pick your fake answer.
Oh,
So
that's
why have
pretty
you not invited Brian and I to play then?
Because, I don't know, man.
Wow. Man.
What the hell, man?
I think you have to be in the room.
Jeez.
Oh, like in
Because
the
it
same
shows,
physical
because
room?
you have to look at the big screen.
Right, but we're all like, it's not like you can't get a hold of us and be like, hey, hop
Yeah.
onto this, play this game. No, it's fine. It's okay. We know where we stand now.
I hate you guys.
It's cool.
It's okay.
Wow.
Hey, by the way, I will tell you that you will have an empty void in your life when you're done with Witcher 3.
I know, I'm getting scared.
Well, just watch Shanna play.
That's true. I actually probably will.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll tell her to play in the computer room.
Tell
and
her
then I'll
to-
turn
tell her
on
what
my
choices
Steam
to
Link
make.
stealthily and watch.
Like that game is so good that I itch to play it for a third playthrough.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hold off for a while just because like that game consumes my life, and but I'll just it'll always be like I'll talk about it later in my top 5, but it's ruined other series for me.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
agreed.
All right. Well, if you would like to email us, you can do so at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is fngaming.net. Facebook.com/FrozenNorth. At FN Podcast on Twitter. FrozenNorthPodcast.blogspot.com is our blog. And we're on YouTube at Frozen North Gaming. And we're on iTunes, so subscribe to, rate us on there and whatnot. And in doing so, you can then listen to our old episodes, because episode 100 is coming up, which will be our final episode, as we announced.
Final one.
As we announced on our last episode. And just a quick recap, what we're looking for is, well wishes or Brian hate mail or
Please.
show hate mail. Tell us what you thought sucked, what we could have done better, or what we did great. Anything you want to do. Tell us your top 5 lists.
Bid
your
us farewell.
favorite games. Bid us farewell.
Bid us good riddance.
Absolutely. Anything you want to do, send it in, record it, email it, whatever. I'll make it work. I'll fit it into the show. I'm willing to let this thing go as long as it needs to give everybody a shot to talk on there. So obviously, just keep it family friendly and just have a good time with it. So, and we need that by episode 100, and this is 97, so we got a couple more. News.
All right, guys. So Power Rangers movie's coming out.
What? This
Well,
is not video game.
There's
news.
also a rumored Power Rangers game coming out.
Okay.
Now, let me just put it this way. Why is this on the news, Brian? Because I personally loved the Power Rangers games back in the 90s on the SNES. My brother and I, they're mostly fighting games, but I had a little bit of fandom in Power Rangers. I know we watched a lot of the movies that came out back then. So, really excited to see if this Power Rangers game is worth another... It's kind of like my guilty pleasure, like Dragon Ball Z games,
I bet it won't be as good.
Nah, but, it's news to me. So, hey, look for a Power Rangers game coming soon. Probably accompanying the movie, most likely, for that nice little movie cash grab. Mark, Beyond Good and Evil is...
No!
Hold on. It's
I
now...
don't care.
Quote, officially in pre-production.
I've heard
unquote.
that before.
Exactly. However, believe what you will, but the guy the main dude, basically said...
Mitchell Ansel.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name. Ansel. Mr. Ansel did say, after putting up a couple tweets with the cool picture, that it's in pre-production. Now,
He's said that before,
he
too.
has said that before, so take this with a grain of salt. But if it's true, then we got a high five right now.
It's going to come in a combo pack with Last Guardian and Half-Life 3.
Oh,
Boom!
Last Guardian is actually coming out.
True.
Yeah, so is this.
Oh,
I don't think it is.
But yeah, he
That's
did
what I mean.
say.
Forget it. You
So-
ruin everything.
I'm not... The Last Guardian is coming out legitimately for realsies.
For realsies. High five.
I love how I wish you guys could see this. It's a shame we don't do this on video, because every time Mark starts to get upset, he fumbles with his headphones. Like he's like, I got to adjust these because I'm about to get all worked up. And it is funny.
Okay.
Next.
So Final Fantasy 15 art. Well, he's done a lot more than just Final Fantasy 15. He's been with the company for 24 years. But art director Yosuke Naora leaves Square Enix.
Okay.
All right.
Just a little bit of news there. He's been there for 24 years, so I don't know how big of an impact this will have.
I honestly don't know who he is.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly he's done quite a bit,
Yep.
but I've not heard the name.
he is departing the
I
company.
apologize. It's sad.
Didn't really, obviously confidential as to why he left. Obviously things seem amicable, but
Probably didn't want to work on mobile. Am I right?
you know what? I was just about to bring this up. We are starting to see a slight exodus from Square Enix, kind of like we started to see people getting jettisoned from Konami.
You think it's the same?
No, not to the same magnitude. People were leaving in droves. At
They're
Konami.
trying to make people quit at Konami.
Correct. This seems just more like maybe some people aren't into the direction that they're going, and they're just like, well, it's time. I mean, this guy's older, so he's been working with or on Square Enix properties for 24 years.
Yeah.
So it could just be the time, but you never know. I know that Square Enix is trying to shift their business model, so it could be a fallout for that. But anyway, he did quote to say that he got to see the ending to Final Fantasy 15, and he said it's by far his favorite ending of all time. So what that means, I don't know.
It means PR.
PR, maybe. I don't know what else he's worked on. I tried to look him up. He's been on almost all projects, but to what capacity, don't know. Okay, and then so just one more time to pile on to poor Hello Games. They are now getting reported under the UK for false advertising. They're getting investigated for it. Now, likely nothing's going to happen to this. They might get a slap on the wrist or a fine. It's not a huge deal, but I think it comes to the I think it finally kind of like puts a huge like whoops on the way they handled things.
Yep.
And I see a lot of
didn't handle things.
Well, exactly, and I see a lot of
You can't hear
apologists.
anything from them.
See a lot of apologists for him out there saying, "Well, Sony made them." No, nope. That's the thing. Sony can't make you make bad decisions. You can make your own bad decisions. It's always a choice, right? If you were going to if Sony was like, "Hey, I need you to kill 4 people to sacrifice to the gods to make sure this game works," you wouldn't kill them and go, "Well, it's not my fault. Sony made us do it." No, they didn't. If you are the head of Hello Games and you say, "Oh, this is really, really bad for my company," or it could be, you wouldn't want to do it, right?
Thanks for that.
So, yep, you're welcome. If it's really bad, like the way they've handled all the controversy is the worst possible way to handle controversy. You don't say anything.
Yeah.
That makes you look super guilty.
I don't understand the apologist angle either. 'Cause it's like they're not on death row.
No.
They're not going to get executed for what they did.
Right.
They're a company that sold a product that didn't live up.
Right.
We should.
I think it's just people who spent so much money on this game and so much time talking it up along with these developers that they just don't want to admit that, oh, crap, we were wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, they're getting investigated by the UK for advertising claims. So we'll see what comes of it. Nothing huge, probably.
I agree.
But it is still like, wow. You don't see this because I will be honest with you. Game advertising has become pretty dishonest in the past years. But I can't remember the last time somebody actually got investigated for like.
I honestly believe that a big part of it is because they're so silent right now.
Yeah.
If they just come out and been like, "Hey, you know what? We didn't mean to mislead anybody. Apologies. This is what we meant. Blah blah blah. Whatever. You know, people would still think they're full of crap in a lot of cases. But at least we wouldn't be like, "Hey, what you just drop this and then leave? What, dude?"
Has this still been nothing from them? I think I read there's still been literally nothing.
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't. I've kind of stopped following it.
Yeah, But anyway, that was your last bit of news.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's not the last bit of news.
Yeah, well, you got
Do
something?
you have anything about how... so Facebook has an annual Oculus conference where they talk about the newest software and hardware that's coming out from Oculus. And this year, you reported on a different story involving Palmer Luckey.
He wasn't there.
And he wasn't there.
Yep.
He's been there every other time, and everybody else from Oculus was there, but he wasn't.
Yep.
And he wasn't even in any of the pre-made videos. So, whoops.
I think his outing of the troll website and the troll account on Reddit probably hurt business relationships.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it doesn't help how close we are to the election.
Agreed.
People are going to be extra ramped up, feeling bad about it.
Correct. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't put that on the news because it really wasn't gaming related, but yeah, literally he was not at the place like he's been every single year. I think he's either not going out of shame or just.
I'm sure it was a Facebook decision to avoid controversy.
Agreed.
Could be.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And as always, you can go to our website to see those sources for Dem News articles.
Dim news.
Show enough. All right. So we got a top 5 this week. It was actually suggested by our buddy Mark the Machine. And honestly, I don't even know if he remembers suggesting this to us, but I remembered it. And I went back to like the Facebook page and kind of looked at the old posts and stuff and found it on there. And I was like, told him we'd do this. So we're going to do it. Top 5 games that went on for far too long. Games or series.
Right.
And this is basically like things that we played and was like, okay, wait, is this done yet? Seriously? Like, why is this? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, why is this not over? This could have ended, this much time ago.
Years ago.
So, we get any honorable mentions? Anybody?
Yeah, I almost made my list, but the Assassin's Creed series, not the games. The games do fine, but the series itself needs to slow down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
They
I think
kind of rush it, yeah.
Yeah, it's too many
I think
entries.
they said they are going to slow
They
down.
are, but I mean that's still like, where are you going with this? You know what I mean? Like, you've gotten so many games, and I don't feel like we're anywhere in the narrative as far as the overall arcing storyline. So,
yeah.
like, come on, let's wrap this up here. So, the series, the Assassin's Creed series, the games are fine, though.
Yeah. I don't really have any other ones that I can think of off the top of my head that really, like, stuck with me where I was like, God, that game should have been so much shorter. Oh, you?
I had one that I can't remember now.
Solid. What a shocker. Unbelievable.
Classic Mark.
Well, then let's get started. Mark, why don't you start us off?
All right. My number 5 is Spore. Good grief. You want to talk about No Man's Sky? We had a little preview of No Man's Sky back in 2006, I want to say.
I think it was before that.
It was around the time I graduated.
Wasn't that Peter Molyneux?
No, it was not. It was Will Wright.
Will Wright.
The creator of The Sims, SimCity, etc.
That's right.
It was a game that was touted as, look, you can go from a single-celled organism to a
conquering the universe.
Basically conquering the entire universe and showing how big the universe is and terraforming powers.
Those videos, we watched.
He was at
watching them with you and your brother.
He did a TED talk. It wasn't even at E3.
It's like a whole presentation that was like 2 hours long.
He was talking about like how he believes in Montessori schools and like self-guided education. He's showing this game off, and it came out, and yep.
Whoops.
It gets boring fast.
Honestly, I don't know. And I know I'm in the minority here. I disagree with the hate that this game gets. I still thought it was pretty solid. I feel like once you get to the end, it's kind of like, oh, that's it. And each stage of evolution is so different from the previous one.
Yeah.
And you can't go back and do anything again.
Exactly.
You would have to start over if you wanted to. So it's like, man, I really liked that one that I was in. That was fun. Oh, I have to progress?
Unfortunately, most of the early stages are pretty simple, too.
Right, but like the tribal stage. Yeah. I really like that because it was like an RTS for the most part. And then you have to progress. It doesn't even really give you a choice. Like, I don't know. I kind of don't like being forced into changing the gameplay. And it was a radical change, too, because once you hit the universe stage, then you're pretty much just like conquer planet build, and that was it. So,
the way I felt about it was kind of like what Brian had said and what I heard on previously recorded about No Man's Sky. Like, if this had been sold as like a $30 game, it would have been incredible. But for $60, it just was not worth it at all.
Yeah.
And it just lost steam for me way too fast. I probably put 20, maybe 25 hours into the game before I just got bored.
The value proposition missed the mark.
Yeah.
I definitely put in more than that, but I mean, I see where you're coming from. I don't know. I never thought it was as bad as people make it out to be.
It's not terrible,
but it's not what they were promising.
Right,
that's for sure. Okay, Brian, number 5.
My number 5 is, and it's wrong here on here, guys. It's the Elder Scrolls games individually, not the series. I think I like the series. I want them to keep making more in the Elder Scrolls ilk, but the games themselves need some serious revamping, in my opinion. And that is all thanks to The Witcher 3. After I played The Witcher 3 and I looked back at like I loved Skyrim. I played it for like 120 hours. And then I look back now after putting like 200, 400 plus hours in The Witcher 3 and go, oh wow, it's really bad. And I wouldn't say bad. It's just really there's too much filler, and that's going to be a theme on my lists when it comes to individual games. I kind of don't like that companies think they just have to make games long with no substance in them. Like, well, hey, it's 120 hours. Okay, but how much is it actually fun?
Yeah.
Like, how many hours is it actually enjoyable to play? I love the main story in Skyrim and Oblivion and Morrowind, but some of the side quests...
They're not crafted like The Witcher.
Exactly. Some of the side quests felt really, really hollow and like, okay.
Go to this cave and kill these guys.
Yeah. Like, I can only spelunk so many caves before I'm like, this is literally just filler. Like, it's just here to extend the experience. Now, don't get me wrong, they're great games, but The Witcher 3 kind of showed me a better way to do open world games like that. It just doesn't...
Yeah.
It just,
definitely.
Yeah, so I like the Elder Scrolls series. I like the The races, I like the universe.
Just too much fluff.
Too much. The games are too much of just crap. That's the problem with it.
I like you. You just got too much crap.
I like it. You just got this crap all over you. If we can just wipe that away, you're going to be a shining loveliness. So that's my number 5, the Elder Scrolls games.
All right. My number 5 is the Dot Hack series. Not because there's, I think, like 7 or 8 games at this point. I think each game definitely adds its own stuff to the overall story and everything like that. But it's kind of like almost along the lines of what Brian's talking about with Skyrim. So the way, if you've ever played one of the Dot Hack games, it's a simulated MMORPG. You are basically like in this online world that's not really online, and you have NPCs who are, in quotes, people who can join you and whatnot. And throughout each game, the story is awesome. It's really, really cool, really interesting. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. But the gameplay is so basic. Like, every single mission you do is go to this dungeon, run through it, explore it, clear it, go back to town. That's every single mission. You go to a field, then you go to the dungeon within the field, then you go back to town. And that's over and over and over and over and over again, regardless of whether it's a main story quest, whether it's a side quest. And the thing is, like, most of the side quests are built into the main story, so you almost have to do them anyways. So you'll get like an email or something from one of your NPC people, and they'll be like, hey, I need you to help me find this item. Okay, so you're just going to go to a freaking dungeon, explore it, and go back to town, which is the exact same thing you did when you were saving the world 20 minutes ago, went to a dungeon, took out the boss, went back to town.
Variety.
So it was just very, very samesies, and I think it just kind of dragged because of that. I still haven't even finished the 4th game. I'm on it, but I haven't finished it just because I'm like, dude, these dungeons, man. It's just so samesies all over and over and over again. So the story's cool, and I still enjoyed it, but yeah, it just went on for way too long. Okay, so that's my number 5. Mark, number 4!
My number 4 is the Halo series, but it's on someone else's list later, so we'll talk about it then.
Boom.
Sounds agreeable.
Brian, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Resident Evil series. I like the games themselves, but the series, come on, man. It should have ended like after Code Veronica. After 4. But 4 was such a departure that now what is even happening in that series? So are they aliens now? Like, what is even what's happening?
Ew.
I have played 5 minutes of the first game.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, it's just the series has gone on way longer than it should have. It could have ended after Resident Evil 2, truthfully. The games, I like the games individually, except for a few of the entries, but like the series is just way too long. And it's gotten so divorced from what it originally was that I don't even know what it is anymore. So, Resident Evil series is my number 4. And moving on.
There you go. My number 4 is a game we just mentioned a little bit ago, No Man's Sky. I was so excited for this. And, I mean, it's no secret that I was excited for it because I talked about it all the time. And I was like, man, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I couldn't do any of that stuff at all. So, like, the first couple hours is amazing in that game. Seeing the universe and being like, holy crap, each planet is going to be like this, and I get to explore it, and you're just on one little tiny corner of it, and thinking of the scope and size of everything and how many creatures there are to discover, until you realize every single planet's going to be the exact same in what you do. You're going to go there, you're going to find enough resources to just move to the next planet. If you want, you can scan some new stuff and upload it, and then you're just going to do that again when you get to the next planet.
Yep.
That's literally the whole game. And I know I never made it to the end, so I don't know what's at the center of the galaxy or universe, whatever. I'm sure that there's probably spoilers on the internet. I could go look it up. I honestly don't even care anymore.
You don't know? Can I say spoiler alert and tell you?
You can tell me afterwards.
Okay.
Just in case.
It's pretty bad.
It's a new game.
It'll make you literally facepalm.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think I do know.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I think I do know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just there's just nothing to do. You know, it's like I said, it's great in the beginning, and if it ever comes down and it's like, $10-15, pick it up, check it out, absolutely. But unless you are a diehard collector of virtual items that won't do anything for you ever, then it's not going to be, a game that's going to be bringing home any awards or anything like that. So that's my number 4, No Man's Sky. Mark, number 3.
My number 3 is the Splinter Cell series.
Boom.
But honestly, I could almost put it more as Tom Clancy series in general, because they just churn them out so often.
Yeah.
All the Ghost Warrior, the Rainbow Six games,
Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
The Division.
Not yet, but it's going to end up there.
It's one game. It hasn't been pumped out.
It's just every freaking game that you go through, it's the double cross, the triple cross, is the government trustworthy or not? Who's the inside guy? And it got super old, and there's not really a lot to say, honestly. You can almost lump Call of Duty into it as well. It's just set piece after set piece.
You bet.
Same crap every time.
Yeah.
Just like rejected Hollywood war intrigue scripts.
Did you see that the new Call of Duty, along with modern, first of all, you have to have Call of Duty Infinite Warfare installed in order to play Modern Warfare?
Seriously?
Yeah.
And it's also I think I read 120 gigabyte install for both games.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Yeah,
Whoops.
You're forcing me to do this, and come on. I mean, granted, I'm one of the few that the only one that I'm excited for is the new one, because I like stuff that's beyond what we see and what we know today. I like seeing the fantastic sci-fi, the fantastic fantasy, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So that was your number 3, Brian. Number 3.
My number 3 is the Fallout series. Honestly, the games could be lumped into the same category as the Elder Scrolls games, but the Fallout series, okay, so you're just gonna pick a new city every time, and it's gonna be the same story. Is this all we're doing? That with Elder Scrolls, you can explore the there's not just, hey, we're gonna go to Boston this time, but it's gonna be post-apocalyptic, and then you're gonna deal with factions.
Everyone's struggling to survive.
This is the plot. This is the plot. It's not like that with the Elder Scrolls series, because it has the fortunate ability of being high fantasy, so you can really get creative. But with Fallout series, I feel like is every new game that's coming out in that series just going to be in a different location and have different characters but the same overarching story? Because that's not interesting to me. I wanted to get into Fallout 4, but I'm like, well, I played Fallout 3. What's the difference other than slightly prettier graphics? And
I could think of a direction where the next Fallout would go that would actually be worthwhile.
But will they do it?
But because there's multiple optional endings, I don't know if they'll even do it.
Don't even know if they'll explore that. Yeah, so the Fallout series as a whole, it's okay, guys, it's just you're just picking different cities, and we're just doing the same thing over again. So, yeah, that's my number 3.
Solid.
Yep.
My number 3 is the Mega Man series.
This would have been on my honorable mentions had you not have said something, or had you not have it on there.
Mark, just that face. It's not because I think that the games themselves are too long. It's the fact that they created all these spin-offs and just didn't need to be there. And I don't care. I realize I'm in the minority in saying this, but when Mega Man X came out, was that actually Mega Man 10?
No, Mega Man 10. No, yeah, actually it might have been. No, because Mega Man 8 came out, and then yes, it might have been. Hold on.
I think it may have been.
Because 7, and then Mega Man 8, and then Mega Man bass and treble.
So why wouldn't they have just gone to 11? Why do they have to make all these stupid spin-offs? And I think that was just so dumb to do that. I think, don't milk it. It's a great series. Keep it as is. We don't need the freaking Battle Network and card battling and come on, dude. Don't do that to a series that's already beloved and everything like that.
True.
And granted, there sometimes when that stuff does work, but for me, it did not work with Mega Man, because Mega Man was always that I'm going to pick the boss that I want to fight. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get his power. Then I'm going to use that power to take down another boss that's weaker and take the levels, play as I want to play.
To be fair, Mega Man X did do that.
Mega Man X was great.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. The numbered entries in the series stuck to that formula.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Great. But then when they started introducing the spin-offs and stuff, that's when I was just okay, this is enough.
Yep.
So, anybody have anything else to add?
No, I would have been my honorable mentions for the same reason. It's like, all right, you have a formula, stick with it, but at the same time, you're at like 19, so maybe
I have something to add. The Mega Man Legends series didn't go long enough.
I honestly never played it.
Oh, really?
So
they're good games. Yeah. I wish there was another one.
Yeah. So maybe they focus on the wrong series to take into oblivion.
So that's my number 3, Mega Man series. Number 2, Mark.
My number 2 is Star Ocean Till the End of Time. And I honestly think a big part of why it's on my list is because I played it under deadline. So I was just sitting in my bedroom, chanting to myself, "Play harder! Harder!
Go further!
Go! Ah!" Just trying to get to the next freaking stage of the game.
Yeah, if only you had like 3 more months prior to that. Oh, wait, you did.
Yep, that's how it went. But once you get there, doesn't help much.
Mark's glee when he saw the revelation was like,
oh yeah, the twist is pretty fantastic. I like
that part
twist.
reinvigorated.
What I'm saying is, like, when you have 2 weeks to play Mass Effect, whatever, that's a breeze.
Yeah,
but when you have 2 weeks to play Star Ocean Till the End of Time, both games will probably 40-50 hours. Mm-hmm. Both basically the same length.
You can't complain about that if you didn't even start it, though, until way later on.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
I think what he's saying is that it's if he had a crunch to play Mass Effect, it would have been like, whatever.
Exactly.
But if he had a crunch to play, I think he's...
I could play several other 40-hour games in the same time period and not have a problem.
And we'll talk about this.
I see what you mean.
We'll talk about this later on somebody's list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I won't go into it then because I know exactly what you're going to say. But... just trying to pour that game through that filter,
correct,
was
when it's
excruciating.
Not your cup of tea. Yeah. No, I gotcha.
And also specifically when you go back to the Fantasy Planet after you go to 4D space, that feels like it should be the last couple hours of the
way
game
before it did. No, you're right. It literally went on too long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Solid pick, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks.
Brian, number 2.
Brian's number 2 is Mark's number 4.
Halo
series. Could have just ended at 3.
Yeah.
I liked 4. Okay. I liked ODST and I liked Reach. So you can keep those. That's fine.
Yeah.
I liked 4, but at the same time, it didn't. I mean, I get why they're continuing the series because it's got a huge fan base. But for me personally, the games are fine. The games themselves within the series are fine. Yes. But it's doing the same thing that Resident Evil did. And I know they changed studios, which is probably a big part of it. But I don't even know what's like. I played 5, and I'm like, so wait.
The Didact, the Librarian,
the Forerunners are still around, even though we were told that there was literally none left in the universe, and so now they're all coming.
No, there are things before the Forerunners.
Yeah, and so it's getting to the point where I'm like, this is completely divorced from.
For me, it's almost like the Marvel MCU.
Like how it's
almost every movie in the Marvel MCU is really good, but there's just so much of it now. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, so the Halo series, the series as a whole for me, it's like, all right, like, I know you're going to keep making games, but, like, after 5, I was like, I don't know if I'm even,
And it's compounded when you go back to the very first Halo, which had sort of Ridley Scott's Alien vibe
very much
almost,
so,
where it's so simple. You wake up from cryo sleep, they don't even tell you what's going on. Right. You're just outside of this ring planet for some reason, and you discover what you discover.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I liked 4 and I liked 5, the games. They're cool, they're flashy.
They're like sci-fi mysticism now.
Yeah, it's like sci-fi, like high fantasy.
I think part of that has to do with the developer changed.
It did change. And like I said, I gave the caveat there that a lot of that is due to the developer change.
Right.
But still, man.
No, you're right. I said this as I was finishing up 5, and I was playing with I played through that game with 3 Halo diehards. And so we're like sitting on the mics and we're talking about it, and I'm kind of like sitting here and I'm like, half of this stuff that they just talked about in this story, you wouldn't even know anything about unless you read these books and like the outside universe. So to me, it felt like you said, the first 3 games were fantastic story, gameplay was decent, and then there was this shift where all of a sudden the story became the second part of it and they put the gameplay first, which honestly for a shooter, you probably should do that anyways.
Right.
But I don't know, when you've already got a foundation of doing it one way, to make that switch is kind of like, hey, what are you doing? You know?
That's why the games themselves are fine. It's just like, okay.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yep, I agree. Good choice. My number 2, oh man.
Hey, I couldn't believe this was on his list, to be honest with you.
Shocking.
I don't know.
The Final Fantasy series.
Wow.
Honestly, it's for the same reasons I listed Mega Man. I love the numbered games, and I like the formula. There has literally been like maybe 2 spin-offs that I've liked. Final Fantasy Tactics, obviously, because that's the masterpiece. But like, they just milk the crap out of the name.
Correct.
And when you do that, it just dilutes it, and I can't stand that, because then it kind of just loses all meaning. Like, oh, another Final Fantasy game's coming out? Yeah, it's just another mobile game with some cameos or some crap like that. And don't get me wrong, I still get excited when I see that something new is coming out and everything like that. But I would rather they just spend their time and effort and money on bringing out a new numbered title, rather than, because even if they stop making, let's say 15 is terrible and they stop making it, they're still going to come out with mobile games. They're still going to come out with these other crap things that have nothing to do with the main numbers. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, just focus.
Chocobo Dungeon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so that's why it's on my list.
I was surprised.
Final
to see
Fantasy Theatrhythm.
Honestly, that's again another one that I liked. Not that it's a fantastic game, but I could just sit there and listen to the music.
Yeah.
So that's why. But it's very samey and kind of boring.
Yeah.
But so that would be my number 2, the Final Fantasy series. As much as I love you, slow it down.
Slow down.
The extra crap. Just give me 15, and then give me 16 and 17. That's
well,
it.
wait, we got to do 15, 15.2, 15.3, 15.2,
no, you
15.453.
Oh, if they do that with... Dude. We'll get into that a little later, and then actually right now. Mark, why don't you talk about your
number 1 is Final Fantasy 13, and also Final Fantasy 13-2 and Final Fantasy 13 Lightning, this and that and the other.
You played those?
No, man. So why do they even exist?
Why are they on your list? Why are they on your list? Huh?
Because I couldn't. They're not even. I can't tell you on this podcast because it's family friendly.
Gotcha.
Mark legitimately gets angry whenever we talk about this game.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Funny.
It's not a game. These are not games. I could. They should have not made it in the first place. Meaning, and by that, it's like if I said, this game shouldn't exist, therefore the sequels just by default shouldn't exist.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense.
Because it's such a slap to the face what it considers a video game. Oh, let's just walk down this hallway. Oh, look, there's an alley. I can see the end, and I can see there's a treasure chest over there.
Hey,
sorry, not a treasure chest, a floating orb.
Hey, to be fair,
it could be a shop too.
Hold on, Mark.
It's true.
Hold on. To be fair, about 90% into the game, you get to the open world part.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. That's like saying.
Just say it, man.
That's like saying, drink this gallon of feces and then you can have a steak.
Damn.
There's a steak at the bottom of this gallon of feces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just drink it. You can get to it.
That's funny. That's a good point. I can't argue with it.
Honestly, this would have been on my list as well at number 2. And then as I started to think about it, not for the same reasons Mark listed, because 13, for all its faults, I did enjoy it when I played it, but I don't think it needed the sequels. And so I was going to put the trilogy on there, being like, you don't need to make a second and third game. Just, again, make a game, the next game in the series, not sequels to this. Because, quite frankly, your characters weren't that good, and your world building wasn't that good. It just wasn't that great, and it made no sense. It's just, yeah. But then I was like, that there's a hell of a lot more spin-offs and sequels than just 13, 2, and 3. So that's why I put the series down.
Yeah.
But I agree 100% with Mark. And again, going back to these kind of games not being your cup of tea necessarily, to have you try something like this out and play it is like, I think you would rather play Star Ocean again.
Yeah, probably. At least that game was a game.
So,
Yep.
There you go. There's Mark's number 1, Final Fantasy 13 and sequels. Brian, number 1.
My number 1, and it's kind of a weird one, but I'm going to say it like this. Almost all traditional JRPGs are too long. And let me explain. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? I love the sitting down at a table with friends and make-believing and doing the whole, oh no, a monster has popped out, and now you have to fight him. Okay, cool, let's roll. I don't want that in a video game. I can do that on my own. I hate random encounters. I hate interrupt, like even in games where you can see the enemy. I hate that you run into the enemy and then it goes and then loads into a battle. Like,
accurate.
I want to be immersed in games, and JRPGs for the most part don't. They make me like I'm playing Final Fantasy VII right now on 3x speed. I'm turning off encounters when I want to go to. I remember. Let me tell you a story about playing Final Fantasy X. I love Final Fantasy X. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasies, but I hated seeing a chest like off the beaten path and going, I want to go there, but I don't want to fight 16 times and waste an hour. I just want the chest.
Yeah.
So
honestly, even if you like that kind of gameplay, you still feel that way.
It's frustrating to me, and I don't want to waste my time. Oh man, I just tried that boss, and the pacing in this game is so whacked off. Sorry, that was bad.
That's an interesting way to put it.
You
don't want your pacing whacked off.
One of my biggest pet peeves in a game, and Xenogears actually did it better than a lot, but I do not like the feeling of going from point A to point B and the game going, oh, you should have ran around the town for 4 hours grinding to get to the, because if I fight a boss, I want the game designer.
Here's a novel idea. If you're not high enough level, have side quests that are interesting that will get you leveled up.
Yes, the thing about JRPGs is I love the stories and the worlds that they present, but
until the last 5%.
And then I was going to get to that, and then the drudgery of wanting to get to that next plot point is so monotonous to me that I'm like, because that's what I'm saying. Like I remember playing Final Fantasy X back in the day.
Cell phone.
Yeah, sorry about that. I remember playing Final Fantasy X back in the day and literally thinking like I want to go down this path because I know there's probably something cool there. I just don't want to fight for another hour. Like I want to get moving. And so that's a huge aspect to JRPGs that I hate. And then the final one is this epic battle at the end.
Well, hold on real quick to address that last point though. Okay. That's a big problem that I have with online games like World of Warcraft because you're essentially doing the same exact thing.
I agree.
I would love to do the raids and go into them, but you can't. You can go in there, you can gear up, you got to grind dungeons, you got to grind these repeatable quests and stuff until you can get new gear. Go in there, you take down one boss. Oh, I got to do it again so I can take down the next boss and be strong enough for that. I mean, it's the same concept, but I 100% agree with you on the random battles and stuff because it sucks not knowing what the heck you're like.
Yeah.
It's much easier to just be like, all right, there's guys over here. I can run past them, not worry about it because all I want is a stupid chest. And I also agree that I don't think grinding should be required. I think that's a terrible, terrible game design.
I agree. It frustrates me when I'm at a boss and I'm getting stomped by it. It happened to me in Final Fantasy 12. Like I was just progressing in the game normally. I was doing some side quests, but I was also moving towards the thing.
Yep.
And then I hit a wall of a boss, and I'd look up online and they're like, "Oh, for this boss, you want to grind for 3 to 4 hours and get to this point." And I'm like, "That's not a game to me.
That's the way to make a game longer.
It's filler."
That is one of the best arguments against traditional JRPGs, hands down.
And then that's my biggest problem. And then y'all know my minor issue is you get to this end part and it's really cool.
Even if the game was grounded the entire time.
Yes. Well, so you get to this point and you're like, oh man, this guy that's been antagonizing my group the whole time, I kill him, and then he's laying on the ground, and the group's like, we did it, and then the ground starts shaking, and you're like, what's going on? And then out of the body of the dead enemy that's been antagonizing you the whole time, a giant 40-headed beast pops up, and you're like, what the hell? So you're like, okay, I'll fight it. Boom, kill it. You're like, boom, and your whole group's like, we did it, we killed this giant monster, and then the body starts to rumble, blah, 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 and then it splits open, and this little like orb is floating there with the head, and you're like,
now everyone's just standing in space,
and then your party looks at it, and then the little orb annihilates the world, and you're like floating in like a nothing land, and one of your party members is like, that must be its soul, we have to kill it.
That's my favorite game.
So yeah, but
which one is it? We don't know.
That's a minor. You guys all know I hate the whole this isn't even my final form boss. But my biggest problem with JRPGs is
which is funny because you love Dragon Ball Z.
And that's I know what's really funny is with Dragon Ball Z, I make fun of it all the time because like, hey, watch episode 5 where he powers up the entire episode.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's the same kind of concept where it's like too much. There's too much. I want to be an editor.
You're absolutely right.
But yeah, so that's my number one.
I think a lot of what you're saying is just the game design needs to be streamlined a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I really, really think your first point was definitely the strongest one.
Oh yeah.
I love having the option to grind if I want to be stronger and I want to take stuff down, or if I'm not very good at a game and I
100% agree.
Think I should be.
You know what? You know what would make it more fun to go out to just random places and fight monsters to level up? If there are like little rewards, like you clear out a settlement and let people come back to
more
it,
organic reason,
or like there's a hidden treasure out there that you can find, and you find a note maybe that tells you about a sunken treasure.
Yeah,
Mark is just describing more Witcher stuff.
Yes, I'm saying that people.
No, you're right.
JRPG people should look at the Witcher series and do that.
Allegedly, Final Fantasy 15 is taking a lot of notes from The Witcher.
And I love that. I love that.
We'll see. Yeah. Which would be really cool if it's true.
I totally agree. But that said, I still love JRPGs. I'm playing I hit Final Fantasy 7. I mean, I played it 5 years ago. It hit that nostalgia button again, and I love the like.
You should do the no materia run, man.
I can't, dude. The summons are the only reason I
just
love
do
that
a
game.
summons only run.
The summons are.
Yeah, the summons are so epic.
I've always described, like as a kid, I've always considered myself a JRPG fan, and in the last 5 or 6 years, I've been like, am I really? But I think the characters, the plot, the setting, the music have always been incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the freaking gameplay.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're
absolutely right.
I am a JRPG fan when they do story and characters so well.
It is a big reason, and I am probably one of the biggest JRPG fans that you'll meet. Well, I take that back because there's a lot of them that I don't go for the cutesy stuff and that everything like that. But like as far as between the three of us, I'm definitely the biggest fan of those games. And I'm at the point now where I will look at games that if they've got turn-based combat or something, I'll be like, does it have a PSP or PS Vita port? Because I'd rather be playing it on my couch while watching something. That way I can grind easier.
Right.
So, and I know it's sacrilege to say that, but it's true. I look for that option because if I play it on my TV, I will not sit there for 4 or 5 hours at a time. I'll sit there for a half hour to an hour, and then I'll be like, all right, I think I've done enough for today. Whereas, years ago, when that was all I had available, and Final Fantasy VI was out and stuff, I would play that for 5-6 hours at a time and be so immersed and crazy. But now it's just because we've seen these other things, and it's the same thing with Brian saying like Elder Scrolls games are great, but once you play The Witcher 3, it's like,
it starts showing
do it this way.
Yeah, it starts showing its flaws. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
So I don't want to say it's unfortunate because it's always good to find new things and everything like that, but I wish more games would learn from and adapt to these better techniques that are coming out. So,
if you're going to have crappy gameplay like that, you should at least give us the option to like do 5x speed.
Right.
And
like the port for Final Fantasy.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's great. If I want to go get a chest, I just turn off encounters, run over and get it, and go back to the path and go turn back on
Final Fantasy IX with those cheats was the most fun I've had with a JRPG in a long time.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's seriously great. Mm-hmm. When you can bypass
because they're really it's tough to match the story and the characters in a lot of those games. Not that other games don't do it, because there are some phenomenal games out there that aren't JRPGs, but I don't know, they're just memorable. But then you get that gameplay in there, and if you're not a fan of it, it's daunting, and it's like I can't finish it because I just can't. I don't want to do a chore. I want to play a video game.
Right.
Yeah,
good point. That was my number one, long-winded, but it had to be said.
No, your points are 100% valid. So
and now for the crap.
Number one for me.
I feel like this was a troll pick.
No, dude, it's not. You know why?
What?
You know why? Because games that, it takes forever to get to the end suck. It's like, you know what? This could have ended a while ago. What about games that don't have an end, Brian?
They have
It
actually has
don't have
a lot of ends.
Oh, and then it starts you right over again.
It's just
The
not turned off,
jerk
man.
thing. The Stanley Parable went on for way too long because once I got to the title screen, it was like, no, this is too much. I can't do this. I hate that game so much. It's awful.
I want to play it again right now.
I actually
Terrible.
missed Stanley Parable. Let me concede 1 point to JJ. Calling it a game may be
Fair enough.
stretching the nomenclature.
It's an interactive
Parody.
experience.
It's an interactive parody of game development.
Yeah.
That's literally what Stanley Parable is. So I can agree to some point to say it's fantastic.
I think it's
But to call it a game, I would look at you and be like, no. It's an interactive, basically jaunt through all the game tropes.
It's got some great writing, and it's got a fantastic narrator, and it's hilarious. But someone like me, I like to have a goal. I like to have something I'm aiming for. I like to have something I'm working towards. And if I don't have that, I go nuts. Like, I go absolutely ballistic.
I still remember
This is like we could have stopped at episode 93 because that's when we first, talked about wanting to be like, I think we've done this long enough. We got other stuff going on. We can finish it, but we can't because I'm like, we're almost at 100. I gotta get a round number in my head. I gotta get there. I got this goal in mind.
Gotta
I
get
wanna
that
do
190.
it. And a game like that is just a kick in the crotch for me because I can't deal with that stuff. Like, give me something
You want the
to
perfect.
do.
You want a perfect game.
Yeah,
Meaning we should have stopped
23%.
at 23 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number one game that went on for way too long because it was made. The Stanley Parable. All right. There it is, episode 97. Anybody got anything else?
Mark?
No.
Mark? You got
Yes.
anything else?
No.
I feel like there's tons of other games though out there that we're not thinking of that could, that went on for way too long. Send us emails. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think went on for way too long because there are tons. Absolutely. Other than that, I got nothing else. You guys?
Nope.
I'm good.
Mark, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Brian, got anything else?
No, hey, Mark, you got anything else?
Actually, I do think that Half-Life 2 might be too long.
Too many episodes?
No, I think the different segments are just a little bit too long.
Boss, you're wrong.
Okay. All right. With that, this is the Frozen North signing off for episode number 97. My name is JJ.
I'm Mark.
I'm Brian.
And as always, keep on gaming.
Our theme song was made available through the Creative Commons Attribution license by Ziphoid. The song title is Radical Fanfare.